Ayo YouTube, what's good? It is your girl Dom, and I'm back with another video. In this video, we're going to check out the homeless boy who invented Louis Vuitton. It just goes to show you, man, it don't matter where you start, it's where you finish, bro. So make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. We're going to get into this video, man. Original link will be in the description. Let's go.
Louis Vuitton is the #1 luxury brand in the world, valued at over $30 billion.
$30 billion?
Its history dates back to the 19th century and begins with a homeless teenager who could only dream of success. With no money or food, he worked odd jobs with artisans and craftsmen to survive, barely making any money, but learned valuable skills that led to pioneering modern luggage and creating a billion-dollar empire. In the 19th century, Louis Vuitton was born and raised in Annecy, France.
His name was Louis Vuitton? Wow.
During that time, France was still recovering from the Napoleonic Wars, and many farmers, including the Vuittons, faced bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Starting from a young age, Louis had no choice but to work on the family farm. From dusk to dawn, he planted and harvested crops, raised the animals, and stockpiled firewood. When Louis turned 10, life became even more difficult. His mother passed away, and soon after, his father remarried.
His father's name was Xavier
Louis'
Vuitton?
stepmother was as wicked as the villains in fairy tales. She made Louis' life miserable, and eventually, he had enough. After Louis turned 13, he quietly slipped away from the farmhouse and headed to Paris, with no money or
In about
food.
15 years, that's 100 years, bro.
That's weird.
It's 100 years ago. No, I'm tripping. My hot ass. Wait a minute. I am tweaking. That's almost 200 years. 18. Yeah. 1835. Then it was 1935. Damn. So it's almost 200. Fuck. My dumb ass. I don't know what I was
Louis
saying.
found odd jobs with artisans and craftsmen who taught him how to work with metal, stone, fabrics, and wood. Still, he had no money left over for shelter and became homeless. He often slept in the woods with only a cloak to keep him warm.
Man.
At the time, the first
Being homeless ain't no fucking joke, bro. I've been in that situation. It's not fucking fun, man. It's not fucking fun at the fuck all.
railway line to Paris had just opened. Travel became more accessible and the industry started to boom. Craftsmen capitalized on this by making custom boxes for aristocrats. They often traveled with paintings, instruments, and furniture and needed boxes that could fit and withstand long trips. They also needed help with packing their belongings in a certain way to protect them from breaking. Since Louis learned some of the skills involved on his way to Paris, he decided to try and find work in the trade. Fortunately, a craftsman named Monsieur Maréchal hired Louis as an apprentice. While Louis didn't earn much, his willingness to learn paid off in more ways than one. He became a favorite amongst Maréchal's clients, and later the Empress of France appointed him as her personal box maker.
Nice.
After working for the Empress for a year, Louis became more in demand and opened his first shop. Early on, Louis came up with ideas for new products that changed the industry standard. At the time, traditional boxes were made with leather and were rectangular shaped. The lids were domed so that water would run off the top instead of soaking through the leather. This made the boxes impossible to stack and time-consuming to load. To tackle these problems, Louis experimented with new materials and settled on canvas. When compared to leather, canvas was lighter, durable, and more water-resistant. This allowed boxes to have simple flat lids, making them possible to stack and easier to load.
Smart.
And while waterproofing compounds made the color gray, it looked more clean and modern. Using canvas material, Louis created a slat trunk. His new product marked the birth of modern luggage. While customers were skeptical of its advantages, it took off within 2 years and became known as an elegant and must-have accessory. Afterwards, Louis set out to do the same thing with a new invention: handbags. At the time, handbags were not embraced by society. Many people complained that they were inelegant, bulky, and would cause injuries to women. Still,
how would How would a handbag cause injuries? The fuck?
He believed that handbags had potential and started making them with canvas. They immediately took off and created the demand for more styles so that women could pair them with different outfits. Eventually, Louis could not keep up and enlisted help from his son, Georges. Like his father, Georges came up with new ideas that changed the industry standard. He created a tumbler lock that turned trunks into treasure chests and prevented theft. Up until then, most trunks had locks that could be easily picked. The family's products became even more desirable, but soon after, production came to a halt.
This is the checkers game where grandson and granddad.
If they was making all them sales and got all them orders and he had to hire his son in order.
This is the kitchen where the new boyfriend will unofficially be.
What the fuck?
A war erupted and destroyed the business, making Louis homeless for a second time.
That makes sense. Unfortunate sense, but it makes sense.
At the height of Louis' business, the Franco-Prussian War erupted. Louis and his family were forced to leave their home and workshop in Asnières outside Paris and head to the city. There, they lived in a cramped shelter amongst thousands of refugees. Food became so scarce that the Vuittons nearly starved to death. When the war ended, Louis returned home. He was
Ain't it crazy all these wars people done started? For what? What did you gain? Nothing really. It's a whole bunch of dead bodies.
Devastated to find his materials stolen and his workshop destroyed. Using the remainder of his savings, Louis wasted no time in rebuilding his workshop and finding a new shop location. Fortunately for him, property prices dropped because of the war. Louis took advantage of the opportunity and purchased a shop in an upscale district. Within months of reopening, business was thriving again, and orders came in from all over the world. Louis now felt the need to try new and bolder ideas. At the time, technology was advanced enough to print custom patterns on fabric, and since canvas is a fabric, Louis was able to create a line of trunks covered in a striped pattern. The new design took off immediately. It gave people a way to stand out and show how up-to-date they are.
It looks plain now, though.
Like fitters to copy Louis' work. Afterwards, Louis received so many international orders that he opened a shop in London. The expansion led to diversifying his clientele, which included more royals and explorers. From then on, Louis was known as the only designer whose products could be found in both the homes of the elite and within exotic rainforests.
Wow.
Eventually, Louis decided to release his first catalog to make ordering easy. It was a practical move that was bound to bring the business to new heights. But within that same year, an unexpected tragedy stomped on Louis' efforts. Louis suddenly passed away in his home at the age of 72. The cause of his death remains unknown. It was now up to Georges to take...
Was it Georges? That's my first thought. You don't know what happened to him? You know what I'm saying? Georges got him. Georges got him.
Georges wasted no time in growing the business and traveled to the US to attend the World Fair. The experience made him realize that he needed an international sales network. And fortunately for him, he met someone at the fair who could help, John Wanamaker. John pioneered the concept of the department store and invented the price tag. After meeting Georges, he started selling LV in his New York department store. It became the first in the US to carry the brand.
Wanamakers, wow.
It was then that Georges created a monogram.
Wanamakers was in the 1800s, bro? What the fuck? Damn.
Memory of his father, a floral pattern with an interlocking L and V. Customers were shocked to see the monogram on products. They were used to only embellishing their own names or initials on bags. But eventually, times changed and the new design took off.
Man, that design is iconic.
Georges and his son, Gaston, continued to follow Louis' footsteps and created...
How does Gaston look older than Georges? The fuck? And don't think I just skated over the fact that his name is Gaston. Like Beauty and the Beast. Gaston. You know that nigga?
New designs.
Bruh.
Noteworthy creations include a bag for everyday use, the Keep-All, a bag to carry wine and champagne, the Noe.
Wait, these were made in the 1930s?
But eventually, times changed and the new design took off. From then on, Georges and his son Gaston continued to follow Louis' footsteps and
Gaston look old as fuck, bro. Look at Gaston. He look aged.
Noteworthy creations include a bag for everyday use,
the Keep-All. I know this is like one of the iconic bags, bro. 1930? For real? Bro, I was today years old.
A bag
and then this one in 1932, bro. People act like this shit brand new. This motherfucker came out in 1932, bro.
And a redesign of a Coco Chanel commission, the Alma.
So they just keep reinventing the same bag with different color pattern and selling it to y'all asses for hundreds of dollars. Y'all dumbass keep buying it.
By then, Georges had toured all over the US and built a distribution network. Like his father, he was bound to bring the business to new heights.
That's crazy.
But unfortunately, history repeated itself.
So he died too? So old man Gaston took over? Is that what happened?
He passed away, leaving Gaston to complete Louis' unfinished plans alone. Gaston was off to an unlucky start. The Second World War erupted and contracts were cancelled. Gaston had no choice but to shut down LV's factory and stores. In Louis Vuitton, a French saga, the author claims that Gaston became so desperate to survive that he collaborated with the ruling party for Germany. Gaston allegedly gave the green light to produce commemorative busts and set up a shop in Vichy. The author also claims that while shops like Van Cleef and Arpels were shut down, LV was the only one allowed to stay open. A Louis Vuitton spokesperson later commented, "This is ancient history. We are diverse, tolerant, and all the things a modern company should be."
It looks like they hooked up with the right people in order to not be shut down. That's really all that was. They hooked up with the winning party. That's just what it was. For real, for real. Like, don't cap.
After the war ended, Gaston tasked his sons, Henry, Jacques, and Claude, with rebuilding the company. With their father's guidance, the sons ensured new models of luggage were made each year. But after Gaston's passing, business stagnated. Hard-sided luggage became less popular. Henry, Jacques, and Claude were divided about how to run the company. So they asked their sister's husband, Henry Racamier, to take over. By then...
Wait. So y'all... No, all three of y'all couldn't figure out what the fuck to do, and y'all owned the company, so you choose your sister's husband? Somebody who's... Bruh, what's wrong with you? That was stupid.
Henry founded and sold a steel trading company for a large profit. He had a keen business acumen and pivoted...
I mean, it's just like, it's... I guess it makes sense from their standpoint, where there's somebody who has the biggest business acumen to, you know, do it, like, to understand to do it, but I wouldn't put you in charge, Mike. Not complete control. Like,
from wholesale to
like
retail
that.
And tapped into the Asian market. Within 6 years, LV sales soared from $20 million to over $260 million. It was around then that Henry took LV public. The company's stock sold out after more than 1 million shares were sold. 2 months later, LV's stock price started to fluctuate. Analysts warned that sales might fall since counterfeit goods were on the rise. Still, Henry forged ahead with opening stores all over the world. Within just a few years, he proved the analysts wrong. LV reached nearly $1 billion in sales and merged with Moet Hennessy, a champagne and cognac producer, to form a luxury goods conglomerate, LV.
Wow. For real? I didn't know that.
Both companies was to prevent the threat of an outside takeover. While the merger allowed LV to expand its investments, Henry found himself embroiled in management disputes with Moet Hennessy's president, Alain Chevalier. In hopes of gaining control, Henry asked a property developer named Bernard Arnault to be his ally, who agreed, but soon after, Henry realized that Bernard had his own ambitions. Bernard secretly bought a controlling interest in LVMH for himself and gained support from the Moet and Hennessy families. Afterwards, a legal battle between
This is, yo, bro, if they would have just kept it in the family, it wouldn't have had these issues, bro. I'm telling you. As soon as they got the brother-in-law involved, that's when everything started fucking up. Like, I mean, granted that they still, you know, a multi-billion-dollar company right now, but still, like,
Henry and Bernard sued. The courts favored Bernard and forced Henry to step down. From then on, LV fell behind when compared to other luxury brands. It was considered a smaller business and sales plummeted. No journalist dared to speak highly of the brand.
Ain't it crazy?
It wasn't until LV followed Louis' footstep under the leadership of Yves Carcel and came up with a new and bold idea that things changed.
What they make up this time? What kind of bag did they bring out this time? The same shit, but just reinvented the colors? Like, let me see.
The company invited designers such as Vivienne Westwood, Isaac Mizrahi, and Manolo Blahnik to create handbags using its monogram for its 100th anniversary. At the time, such collaborations were practically unheard of, and handbags weren't a thing in the world of luxury.
Wait, what kind of fucking bag was that with the umbrella in there?
The company invited designers such as Vivienne Westwood, Isaac Mizrahi, and Manolo Blahnik to create handbags using its monogram for its 100th anniversary. At the time, such collaborations were practically unheard of, and handbags weren't a—
What the fuck is this? So it's a backpack with the umbrella on the inside? So you wear— Why, man?
Thing in the world of luxury. Still, the collaboration was well received and put both LV and handbags back on the map.
So he came up with that. So Isaac Mizrahi came up with the clear, everybody know what's in your bag.
Still,
that's yo, so
well
stupid.
And put both LV
I don't like
and handbags back on the map.
It's ugly as hell, and that looked like a vest, like not a vest, a nest, like a bird's nest. The fuck?
Marc Jacobs to be their creative director. Marc revitalized the brand by launching its first ready-to-wear line, designing its popular Vernis collection and collaborating with high-profile artists, starting with Steven Sprouse and Takashi Murakami. Since then, LV has expanded into watches, jewelry, and sunglasses, and continues to launch iconic bags. The company also continues to make everything in-house. Craftsmen must train for 2 years, and some pieces require 300 stages to assemble.
Wow.
Today, LV ranks as the #1 luxury brand in the world, and its valuation has topped $30 billion.
But it ain't in the Louis Vuitton family no more. It's not owned by someone with the last name Vuitton. Like, you know what I'm saying? This
is the story of how a homeless teenager pioneered modern luggage and laid the foundation for a billion-dollar empire. For more inspiring stories
that
and
was
advice
dope.
from today,
the story is dope. That somebody, you know, he was homeless and he created, you know, something that still standing today. Like you saw, you know, they said it's the #1 luxury thing, you know, in the world. Like, fuck. But it still ain't owned by nobody named Vuitton. That's what I know. And that's when they downfall for me. Like, bro, you should have kept that shit in the family so that way it'll always be owned by somebody named Vuitton. Fuck all that. Anyway, that was a homeless boy who invented Louis Vuitton. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next, bro. Peace.